Ladies and gentlemen, we are so close to our goal of 62. I am Phoenix. I am a chess expert and a risk expert. We are getting right back into it. Survival mode, chess.com. We have 60 correct. The last one we did was 3165. And we have to tee up a puzzle here where we've got a bishop, a queen, and a rook for both sides. But it looks like black is down 2 pawns here. We just need 2 more right before we get 2 more wrong. Doing so well, that'll be a personal best if I can get to 62. I am excited to see if I can get there with your help. And I seriously mean that because talking out loud helps me to organize my thoughts and make sure that I am explaining things and keeps me honest instead of just guessing and saying, I'll try again. Talking to you guys actually helps me to focus a little bit. And thank you for your feedback, by the way, everyone who has left a comment saying what kind of content they want, particularly with this one. So I think we have to look at something like these two options. We want to start with, of course, checks and captures and figure out what the targets are. Well, we know this is a target, but that's almost it. Looks like this bishop is kind of targeted by the queen, but that's a lot of stuff in the middle, so probably not. We could take a pawn, which seems silly because we're almost in some serious trouble with this bishop and queen, but not quite yet because we do have a bishop guarding it, we have a queen guarding it, and the king is kind of stuck in the middle. So we have a check. We're facing this direction. And of course, we could skedaddle that away, but then we have to be careful of a rook coming down and pinning us somehow. So what are we going to go after? To be honest, my instinct just says to go after the king or go after the queen with a bishop because I want to get this rook involved. And we have to follow Phoenix's rule of the farthest away piece. The farthest away piece is this rook, so we want to get it involved. Morphy is famous for attacking with all of his pieces. He went through great lengths to get all of his pieces involved, even if it meant sacrificing something. So like this kind of idea just makes it feel Morphy-esque. Now, one of the things we could try to do here is cut a rook up the file and have a queen coordinating on this back square, and that would win a bishop, but probably also, depending on where the king is, probably find a mate. So I think let's sink into it here. But bishop check. We're going to start with attacking a king because it's higher than a queen, so let's start there and take. And then we have this queen check, which doesn't seem to do much good because the bishop can block it. And then even if I rook check, I don't think there's enough because the queen touches that bishop to actually take it. And we are down a bishop. So even if we did take it, it's not great. We'd have to be checkmating. If we allow this bishop to move, I'm pretty sure this king can just hide forever in this kind of diamond shape. No matter where he's checked, he'll find one of those squares available. And so we probably want to use the bishop there. And I'm seeing, like, for example, king here at any point in the game. And then I could go like queen here, checkmate, as long as it's safe to do that. We could also go queen check. We could go queen check to a king here and then like finish it off with a rook or something like that. That would also work as a potential mating net. So I'm just dreaming out positions here. We'll try to figure out how to force it to work after we figure out what we're even trying to accomplish. So let's go bishop, queen, and then bishop. And I don't think I have much of a follow-up because my bishop is dead, my queen is busy, and my rook has a single check. But then I think just hiding here is good enough. There's no other checks or anything like that. We could take a pawn, but then we get checked here, like I said. See, when I pointed out that queen's attacking the king, you guys thought it was silly. Now that I've hung a bishop on this square and forced the king to move away, now all of a sudden I am getting attacked. So that's why you got to think ahead of these kinds of things, even if they seem unreasonable. So how about we'll go back to this idea and then check, and let's just make sure there's nothing that can be done about that. So I'm not seeing anything there. So one of my rules is that we are always calculating, always be calculating, ABC. And the reason you do that is moves in your mind are free. Whereas we can just stare at a puzzle and try to come up with like conclusions and general themes about it. it's much faster to discover those themes if you just do concrete moves. For instance, just now, as I realized that I am being foolish about this because I said rook check and the king moves away. Well, that's kind of silly because, of course, the queen attacks that square, and I would just be down a rook and a bishop. So, because of that, because of my always be calculating rule, I found out that there is, in fact, a queen attacking that square. And I would have come to that conclusion earlier, but I have to do two things. One, talk, so I have to move a little bit slower. But two, the only way you can kind of see those things is by trying to calculate moves ahead, and then you see what your opponent can do. And now for the rest of this calculation, I will know that that square is controlled by the queen. So the point here is always be calculating, always try something. I don't care if it's crazy. It's just faster to learn things if you just try the move in your mind and then see where it goes. Minor distraction in the Phoenix household here. Okay, so we were talking about bishop check, and then it looks like I don't have a queen follow-up or a rook follow-up. But what this white queen doesn't control is here, here, and here. So we could go rook to the F file. Remember, we're black, so the board's upside down. And the queen could go to the G file or the F file. But probably we know that the rook can't go here in any line because probably this queen will stay where it is. So what if we just went like bishop checking it? Actually, let's check this first. Here, here, here. Check. Okay, king goes back where it already was. Rook check, king, queen back. And the difference is, yes, I'm down a bishop, but the difference is this square is controlled by the rook now. So I did all that kind of back and forth maneuvering just to get the rook into place so that now the king has to go to the back rank. Well, this is obviously foolish. If here, then here. Because like I said, the rook and queen coordinate, and that's a checkmate. I think if king here, what can we do? Probably also queen. I'm going to guess it's also queen check. Because now I'm getting my bishop back. No, I'm not. Okay. So then it would go king here. And then I'm not sure there's a good follow-up because I don't have any checks on any of these squares. So I don't think that that's probably the answer because it looks like the king just runs away. But that is something to keep in mind, and we may have to come back to that when we compare it to other lines. So the idea there was sack the bishop, bring the queen and rook together, and then go back to where we started. But what if we tried bishop attacking the queen? And what this does is I think you have to move the queen. I don't see like any other kind of shot here. Like for instance, this just seems fine for black. I don't see any method you can come in. And this is something I spoke about in a previous video that you've got to know, the shadow principle. When a king is under attack by a queen on a relatively open board, you want to find a square that intersects with something blocking a diagonal, something blocking the file, and something blocking a rank. So what we would have in that case, if the king were here and the queen went check and we pushed a pawn, the reason that appeals to me is the pawn blocks the diagonal. My other pawn blocks this diagonal. And then we have a pawn blocking the file that comes into me. So the only thing open there is a rank. And I just quickly see that that's okay. There's nothing white can do to take advantage of that. So we're pretty okay with that. I mean, 3 out of 4 ain't bad. So that's actually a pretty interesting move. And I think you have to take it. So then we can try either queen or rook. When I calculate, I find it a very helpful thing to list all the moves right in this position. For some reason, it just mentally helps to hold a position in your mind, list all the possible moves, promise yourself you'll come back to them. It's kind of like making a table of contents in your mind because then you don't miss things. So let's try. Which one do you want to try first? Phoenix's principle or the farthest away piece. So this queen is busy guarding squares around a king and the rook is not. So probably we want to bring the rook in first, and that way we have both queen and rook attacking a king. So let's go check. And this square is illegal. So looks like we have two options. And once again, I'm pausing to say two options. Let's go. I'm not going to sit there and try to think about which one is better. Just pick one and always be calculating. So we're going to go this way. We're going to go here. So that was, again, bishop, queen, rook, king. And so now that we have a rook cutting the file, we need the farthest away piece. I still don't like queen to right here because that would be e2 because we get interference from the bishop. No, we don't. Oh, look at that. That's a finding. We moved the queen. So actually bishop here loses the bishop with check. Interesting. Interesting. So we can get our piece back that way. So, and that just looks like that's probably winning, I would think. I mean, maybe it's a draw, but we can calculate that more. Oh, you know what? The rook is hanging. This rook is hanging. But I can't take it because check and my rook hangs. Okay, this isn't going to be the winning line, but I'll show it from the top. Bishop, queen, rook, king, queen. Bishop blocks question mark. Queen takes, check, king moves. We take a rook, queen check, king moves. We lose a rook. We take, check. Actually, let's not do that. Let's put the king here so that that doesn't happen. Then check here, and we don't really have anything to challenge the white queen. We could take a pawn, but that's the end of, that's the end of the line. As far as, actually, we could take this pawn with check. Okay, does that look like a mess to you? Looks like a mess to me, but I don't think we're like checkmating or winning there. So let's drop that line. I don't think that that works. So I'm going to back up to the point where we go bishop, queen, rook, king. How about queen here? King. King probably, where do we want to put him? Here? I guess. Rook up to attack the queen because the rook is now the farthest away piece. So we want, remember the queen would then be controlling squares around the king. So we want to use the piece that's farthest away, who's not controlling squares around the king anymore because the king is over here. So let's bring him in. That attacks a queen. And then how do you stop checkmate? How do you save the queen and stop checkmate? I don't think you can. You can give me your queen and that's it. Huh. Yeah, queen. So this is the threat. So, and then also we're threatening a queen. So I think probably the only line there would be queen. And then we actually do play the rook check. And then queen blocks, and then we take it. And then we've won the queen with check. And that's definitely good. We've lost a bishop and a rook, though. My instinct says that my queen is better than their bishop and rook. But we are down 2 pawns. I only have 1 piece. My other pawns and stuff and king are not active. That may, but their rook's not active. I don't know that that's enough to win either. So this is pretty difficult, I'm thinking. I'm not finding any like ways to mate. But I think the king has to go. Okay, so this, when I checked the king with the queen, when the queen went check on g7 and the king chose h3, I'm not sure h4 or h5 are any different in that case. Because I think we still play rook f6 and try to come over and attack the king wherever it is. So we definitely have a queen covering our king, and we have the pawn shielding the king this way, and we have the white pawn shielding this way. So there's no checks against my king. So when I play rook f6, I'm pretty sure that that is okay and winning. So let's go back to the beginning. That's a pretty picture right there, I think. Nice and colorful. So let's go bishop, queen, rook, king this way, because I think we proved that king this way falls into rook f6, and there's no way out of that. I think we're at least win. There's probably better. So how about we try like, all right, let's go king this way. By the way, I don't think that any of the other like queen moves work, because the idea here is that we're still bringing the rook in. and my bishop is still alive, so white might as well take it. So that's why I think the queen has to take. So we go queen, we go bishop, queen, rook, king here, check, king here, check, king back again. I would love to get a pin going, but I can't. That rook is unprotected. Back again, check. Is there anything else? Bishop, queen, rook, king, queen, king. And then what do we have that we can do otherwise? Can we go rook check? I don't think so. That doesn't seem to do anything. It just worsens our position. Do we have a sneaky king move at that point? No, I can go this way. But not from this square. So how do I get back to that? I don't think that I can. Huh. I don't think this is the correct move either. So if bishop check and bishop attack the queen don't work, what does work? We could try like pawn up, take, and pin. But two problems with that is, three problems, I guess, is they don't have to take. We go pawn up, they could take a rook, and then we go check, and then the queen takes the bishop, and then the king takes the queen, but now I just have a queen who's doing not a whole lot. I mean, they just probably play like rook over or something like that, attacking my pawn, and they're pretty active, and I'm not really active, and I don't have any good checks here, so it'd be like queen check, king back, something. I don't think this works. I mean, dropping a whole rook and then check doesn't matter that I won the queen. It's not enough. I feel like this has to be a mating net, and maybe I'm just not seeing it with take, take, queen, king. Maybe there's something here that I'm not seeing. Oh, what if I went check? I haven't tried that. Okay, what if they don't go there? They go here. I do have this check. Oh, wait, maybe this is the thing. Maybe it does matter which square. Because if the king goes here, I go here. And if the king goes here, I maybe go here. I mean, let's try them, I guess. Bishop, king, queen, king, queen, king. Can't go rook check because the queen is there, remember? Maybe now I just like squiggle slightly higher and go check. Now I'm here. I was on G7, now I'm on G6. Check. King go, probably queen blocks or something. Check. King here. It seems like it's not going anywhere. I don't see anything else I can do. Take a pawn. Check. King here. This is silly. This isn't going anywhere. I'm just winning pawns. That's not enough. Especially not when I lost a bishop. So there has to be a way to get more out of this. So I don't think it's probably not bishop. It's probably not bishop. It's probably not pawn. Maybe it's just queen. I mean, if we tried everything else, why not try that? Check. Here. Bishop. Bishop. Queen check. King has to go like maybe here. I don't really like it. I mean, these checks don't seem to do anything. King just goes back. Boy, this is a tough one. So I had to get a little refill in my Luke's Gilmore Girls coffee cup because caffeine powers the brain. It's actually, they say it's actually pretty bad for caffeine to drink caffeine playing chess because it causes your brain to jump around and not focus and to drop lines that you've made a lot of progress in, and then suddenly you can't hold it. And the caffeine has a lot to do with that interference there. So I looked at this a little bit more, and I just am not seeing anything here. I can't make bishop throwing away the bishop work. I can't make throwing away the bishop here work, even though there is that cute little mate. I don't think that the king has to go that way. The king will go in the middle. So this doesn't work. We loses a rook. So if this can't move, this can't move, this can't move, and this can't move, I'm definitely not seeing any king moves that do anything like, I'm going to get you. It doesn't work. So, it's got to involve, has to involve this king. We know that. It's not going to be one of these two because they're well defended and hidden. So the only thing left to do, I guess, is bishop e2. And I'm not really seeing what that does other than make a threat, I guess. But, we calculate everything else. So let's just try it. Bishop e2. How about, well, obviously I'm not going to play like rook 1. And I don't think I can lose this queen, right? Like, as white. I don't think white can lose the queen. So let's try to fix the king. What if I go here? And then I just, like, pin it. Now what? I don't see anything there either. How does that work? I don't have any checks or anything, but do I try to throw away the rook now? Something, I mean, that looks the worst of all. So, because what I'd like to do is get out of the pin, but if I go right here, it blocks the whole point of the bishop coming to e2, which was to check. So there's no checks with the queen. Queen takes that. No check. King takes that. I have like a rook move. Bishop, queen, rook. So unfortunately, I'm still not seeing it, but this is the only move that doesn't just immediately lose the bishop, right? Like that loses a bishop and that loses a bishop and the queen. And so I have to get the rook out. I do feel like I have to move the bishop, and it's the only one that doesn't lose, because the point is not get the bishop involved, it's get the rook involved. And I think we're pretty well convinced the queen can't move on this one because check, and that doesn't do anything. So it's not that. I'm out of moves. I think I've tried everything. So I don't know. I mean, that seems a reasonable start. Is there another way I can try to come in on the king? Just unpinning. Oh, you know what? If I go here and you take the bishop, this is still the same bishop sacrifice. This is a bishop sacrifice. It's just better than sacrificing the bishop here or here. Because my king is out of the way and the queen is more buried. It can't come over, try to block on any of these squares. Like where it stands right now, it can block over here. It controls this kind of stuff. So that, remember when the king scooted into the middle, I couldn't like check it very well because there was a queen here. But in that case, I would have this square. Oh, this is it. Okay, I don't exactly know why, but this is definitely it. The idea was the same bishop sacrifice as before, and then like rook check, and then king, and then queen, and stuff like that. But what if rook check and the king goes in the middle? Remember earlier, I had to go check. This time I don't have to. I can go here because the queen is not here. It's here. So that's all the difference in the world. So I go here, 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 take, and then I still get the rook check. I think I finally had the breakthrough here. I think we're going to do it. And honestly, the reason I have to pick this move is the other ones are worse. I'm not convinced of this move. I just think that like the other bishop moves are awful. And it's the only choice to get the rook involved is I have to move the bishop. So let's try it. Good. Okay, yep, that's what we thought. Now I think it's king here because I don't want to get in the way of the bishop. And I think I want to go like this. So I'm pretty sure you can't take my bishop because this rook check is devastating. It's not. Oh, man. If I go here and then here, actually, now that square is covered. That was our linchpin of our plan when the king goes this way. But, oh, wait a minute. Remember we said that way back when the queen controls this square? And now if she takes this bishop, she won't. I do have to be careful that everything's a check if I go this way. Because at any moment, if my queen leaves, I can get checked by a rook. So, is it bishop here, though? Or king there? I don't think so. Okay, I think I'm going to take my time and think about this one. So I found a cute line that kind of works. Not quite, but I do want to show it to you. I haven't solved it yet, but king, take, rook, king, queen check, bishop blocks, queen takes and king here. And I thought, what can we do? Oh, well, we do have a king here with a queen blocking these 3 squares. So let's bring the rook involved. And the queen can check my king, right? So then I said, well, let's go rook here. And then I realized that actually, unfortunately, it's a check here, hitting the rook, which is protected by the queen for now. And, but that's one check. And then the next check is coming this way, I think. So that might still be the answer, actually, because I did fail to realize that that rook is attacked. But now I find it interesting because we just checked the king down and now I'm being checked. So if that were to happen, if we were to get check, I think I would have to go king here. And then there aren't any more checks from the rook or the bishop. So I think we're healthy. Don't forget this queen reaches back and controls the square. So that works too. And I'm thinking I have the correct move. I just am not quite sure on the mate. But once I get a queen and a rook and they start checking on all these squares and stuff, I feel like this has to be good. So I'm going to play it, and I'm a little scared to play it. I'm not sure that I have it right, but I think I have to get this involved. Am I right? What was that? Little glitch. Ready? No. Dang. All that work, guys. All that work. All that work. Okay. What's the answer? See it? Yep. We know that. What? So the point of the queen in the corner was to set up a pin of the queen we wanted to pin the queen to the king with a rook. Right here, the threat was rook over. So that's why the king had to sidestep to get out of the threat of this pin. Amazing puzzle. So deep there. Unfortunately, I thought I had it, but I guess that's not the way to go. King here doesn't work because you take queen d7 and then the rook check does not work because what? Only king g4. That's interesting. King e4 right here, here. Queen f5 is the best move. Wow. Okay. I should have calculated that. I think I just wasn't seeing it. So let's just get on with the next one, yeah? Okay. 60 puzzles, and I really need to get one right. At least give me 61, because I want to have at least one correct today before failing the run, unfortunately. So let's see what we've got here. We have a bishop, queen, and rook. As we know, apparently I'm not very good with bishop, queen, and rook only. So we have a check with the queen, we have a check with the bishop, and we have a target here. So let's do the targets. One target, because it's attacked and defended one time each. So the rook is a target. And it looks like this pawn is a target because it is attacked twice and defended once. As we know, it's probably best to start with the farthest away piece and also to take a target when you're already overwhelming it. So when you have 2 pieces on one thing that's defended one time, it's a high chance that we should take it. Very high chance. So I would love to go like here, actually, and attempt to pin queen and king because we have these targets in a line. So let's start focusing on that. How do we get pieces on a line here? Connecting the 2 targets, we put a bishop there, or we put a queen there. Okay, that's that. How do we connect these 2 targets? We put a queen here, 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 or a rook somewhere like this for some reason. Or we put a rook here. So that's how we take advantage of that. And then finally, we have the checks. So we can go queen or queen or queen or queen. And then I don't see how that leads to a mate. And then finally, the Phoenix Shadow Principle comes into play. This white king is well defended on the diagonal and the file and the rank. So probably we're not going to be able to pull something off like that. One thing I would like to try is take, and then somehow teleport a rook past the pawn. Check. Queen takes it, bishop takes it, and now we have a winning position for black on account of the pawns. White has weak pawns and black doesn't. So there's an extra pawn, although that is opposite colored bishops, so probably a draw. I'm thinking I shouldn't have said it's a winning position for black. I should have said it's like a better position for black, but probably maybe it's not winning. So that would depend on if this king could come up and eat this pawn. That's how we would determine that. And I don't think that's possible. Yeah, it's not possible. White would just push the pawn. It's held forever by the bishop. It's unattackable by a dark square bishop no matter what. So that's how white would draw. So let's not focus on this anymore. So there are two moves I like so far. I like the idea of going bishop check and then queen takes and then queen check, because the queen has to come back to guard this pawn or else white is in trouble. And that leads me to a conclusion that I could go bishop check, queen takes it, and then something like take here, queen back, take it, check. So that's one idea. And then I thought, what if I just invert that move order? Let's not try to just throw away our pieces and check when we don't need to. Let's go with check first. Sorry, not check, but it's a attack to the queen. And I noticed that if the queen goes here, it's mate. Queen checkmate. So what if instead we go... Yeah, I actually really, really like this. I like that idea. What if we go rook and then the queen goes to here? We mate. Queen goes to here. We don't act. Do we take it or do we just mate? I guess we have to take it. Oh, maybe we could actually checkmate this way. Anyway, not to, we can just take it, and that's easy enough. I think this is mating though. So the queen won't go there, and if it goes here, we definitely take it. So easy. So I think that that's a pretty good idea, and I don't think that if here, that's the wrinkle. There it is. Here, queen just takes it, and then the king takes it, and then if rook can go right here, check. And unfortunately, my queen is hanging. So I could throw away. So this is how we come back to what I was just saying earlier. So if I go here, take, and then the only move for white is check. If I pull the bishop back, unfortunately, I lose a queen. So I'd have to give up my queen for the rook. Take, check, king takes. And if only there were a way for me to just win a pawn immediately, that would be great. But I'm not seeing how I can do that. So I'm thinking this isn't the right answer quite yet. It feels like this rook going here is part of the solution, because we just have to kind of solve the fact that my queen is hanging to a discovered rook. So we have to figure that one out, I guess. I'm really liking this idea of attacking the queen and coordinating on that square, but what if we focus on these targets again? And I want to make this work. Basically, the idea is I want to make rook g8 work, because this is so devastating, this check here. I noticed that the queen controls all these light squares. So like any check would be mate if it were safe enough, or in this case, didn't block the queen. So when bishop check, let's just pretend the queen can't take it, because that's why I'm working on the rook move. Then the king only has the corner square. And then when I pull the bishop back, it attacks that queen and wins the queen. So that's a pretty easy tactic, I think, to notice. Anytime, because the first thing you want to try is this. And obviously that's just failing because it just loses a piece for no reason. Because you don't have any pieces left to attack with. Losing a piece is fine if you can continue the attack, but I would only have a rook. So I think we're going to go back to the first principles of saying this. I don't know why this works so well, but when you have a puzzle and you have a target and you're already overwhelming it 2 versus 1, you should probably just take it right away. I don't know if there's some sort of like nuance in the way that the computer selects puzzles, but that's like almost always the right answer. So provided it has something to do with your attack, right? And it does. And so what this does is it it has two effects. It could distract the queen and allowing this kind of check and back. That's one option. Another one is it comes in this way, check, and that would be mate if it were safe. Unfortunately, we do have the queen here blocking us from doing that. But maybe that actually still works because then I do have this check and things like that. So maybe that still should be in the running, but basically it ties the queen down to the defense of that pawn, and then it actually helps to make this work on account of that idea of the queen having to be overworked. So if we place the rook here, we have another piece in the attack, and it follows Phoenix's rule of the farthest away piece, right? We're trying to attack with a queen. We're trying to attack with the bishop. This rook isn't doing anything. This doesn't work, so this has to be the right answer. It follows two principles. So let's just try to work that out. Oh, by the way, I don't want to take with the queen. I can rule that out pretty immediately just because take, and then like I don't have an attack anymore. In fact, I think I'm losing this pawn. So probably just king over, and then I'm not seeing any. That's just the end of the attack. So Phoenix's farthest away piece, the rule says use this piece, and the targeting method says take that pawn. So that has to be the right answer. So let's go rook take this guy, and then what happens? I guess because we have the discovery, white will employ the farthest away piece technique and try to threaten mate, probably here or here. So I'm guessing this is the wisest move because it guards the square from a check, but also threatens mate. But also we have to consider this move. So let's just do the easy one first, and then that'll tell us something. So take, threatening mate. That's the key. It's not about taking the pawn. It's threatening mate. So then we go, do we play rook or bishop? Well, we're not going to stop to think about it. We're going to just play one and then think about it afterwards. So take, check. Only legal move, I think, yeah. Only legal move is queen takes. And then do I have check? I do. And then king here and bishop check. Notice the rook is no longer there. And then moves. And then I take the queen and I get to actually... Oh, then losing that. And then I go check here. Okay, so that's winning. That's winning because the king... I'll have traded my rook and bishop for the queen and the pawn and the pawn. And I guess I lose this pawn too. But the king is wide open and he's got two undefended pieces. So I'll just fork. I'll go like whatever the position ends up being. I'll go like check and then take this guy, like something like that. Or I'll go check here, taking these. And in fact, that's the right answer. Yeah. Okay. The line from the top would be take, which I don't think he's going to do. But take, check, king, bishop. And I'll start to clear these things here. And then bishop takes, king takes. And then because this pawn is missing already, check. Picking up the rook here. Okay, so that works. But that was a silly way to do it. Why would you hang a rook out there on an attack at rank when you could attack at file? So let's try that. So we're going to go rook takes, rook behind the queen. And then we have like... That's a tough defense here. Oh, can we go check here? I bet that's it. Because then where does the king go? It can't go anywhere, right? It goes here. But then I think I get check again. And now notice that the rook can't block because there's a bishop attached to it. Okay, I think this is the right answer. I'm pretty sure this doesn't work because I think I can either sacrifice here or I can go here. Let's try that. Bishop check. And I guess now the rook just takes that, right? But then check in here. Oh, my queen's attacked too. So it does have to be a check. So rook, queen. Bishop here. That should work. That should work. Yeah, let me think about that just a little bit longer. Okay, I don't even see any other lines. This looks all forced. If I take rook here, I have threats of rook and bishop. We already talked about that winning. Rook here, it's still rook over because the king is out of squares to go to. So, like, all of these are clogged up, so it doesn't work. I'll give away the rook, but then I get the open diagonal. There's nowhere for you to run. It's a crisscross mate, right? I mean, it's not mating right away, but it will be. So that's fine. And then this doesn't work for a variety of reasons. And I think they start with, I think that's here, 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 skewer, here, pick up the rook. So I think we're going to play it. And I do feel like this time, unlike the last puzzle, I feel like I actually have it right. Yeah. Now I'm pretty sure I take here because look at the king. He's just out of squares, right? So let's just be careful. Let's be disciplined. Okay, rook takes it. The only legal moves are queen block. That's an easy win. Or, oh, in fact, oh, that's cute. Oh, wow. Here, I don't actually take the queen. Actually, this is worse. Check. Because the queen is pinned. So the rook is pinned to the queen as well. So rook would have to block, but then it becomes pinned. And it turns out that actually, I think that's mate. Rook takes his mate. That's cute. Oh, I hope I get to play that. I hope they go here, here. Can't draw. Here, and then bishop, and then rook takes his mate. How cool is that, huh? They're not going to let me because I don't have to take with mate in one. I can take with the queen and then win. So the computer never lets you play when there are two winning moves. But that's cute. I want to show you that. Okay. So anyway, queen's going to take it, right? But then check. And you can either block with a piece or you can move your king. But either way, I think I'm going to win a lot of material. It does have to be a check. Notice that my queen is hanging, so it does have to be a check. My rook is kind of hanging, so the queen can't go far. So let's just get on with it. Yeah. Okay, now I'm pretty sure it's bishop check because that pushes the king away from the square in the back. So my main idea is here, check, rook blocks, and then I take that. And I get my rook back with a winning position. And now I can trade down to that opposite colored bishops because I have passers and I have these pass pawns. So worst comes to worst, I can do that. So I guess it's forced now. I'm in for a penny, in for a pound. I'm down a rook. I have to check. So if we block with the queen, do we take it? Yes, we do take it. And then I win the rook game because check. And then probably some way to pick up this bishop, I'm thinking. Yeah. Okay, let's do it. Yeah, okay. Now, I figured that, but I don't take that right away. I think I check, double up on it. Right? It's got to be this because there's no other move here. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I missed this, and I can't believe I'm still right. White's threatening checkmate, guys. I didn't even see that. I saw these mates here, obviously, because we talked about them, but this mate is now on the table. Oh, man. So, okay, well, I guess that kind of makes my life easier because now it has to be a check, and I have to get material back, so I'm pretty sure it's going to be queen f2. It's obviously not one of these, right? It's not going to be any of those checks. So, yeah. All right, but let's try to think it out. Queen check. And then the rook can't move, obviously, so king here. And then, geez, I thought I would just win the rook, but the queen won't take back. The queen will just mate me. Okay, I guess I could take the bishop. Yeah, I almost just played this automatically just because it has to be a check, but I guess I can just stop the checkmate because, right? I couldn't see anything here for black to do. None of the checks work or anything. So this rook is pinned. Don't worry about that. I can take this, and then I believe because I'm stacked up on it, I can take that and win. If I trade off all the pieces, I'm winning because of the pawns, like we said earlier. Opposite colored or not. This actually helps the case. So it must be the bishop takes. This check is defeated by this. Notice that there's no check here because there is a bishop looking at it. And I had thought check here, bishop takes, queen takes, take, something like that. But that doesn't work. I'm down a bishop. And none of that matters anyway. White would have checkmated me. Bishop takes rook, white takes king. So let's not do that. Let's take the bishop. Got it. That was scary. I almost blew that. We had the right idea, mainly because it's all forced. It's a lot easier when things are forced, right? So that was 61. That was 61. So we're going to see if I can get to 62, everybody. 62 is ties my record. And I'm happy to see we get a king and pawn endgame. I find these rather easy. They do take me a while, but like I'm confident in them. Whenever we get the right answer, I know it's the right answer. Not like the one that we got the red X on where I feel like I'm guessing. So in this one, this will be for our record, and we are going to do it on this video. I know this is going long, and I appreciate you being here. If you like that last one, and if you like that instruction, go ahead and hit the like button. Every time you do that, we get shown to like 1,000 more people, and they get a chance to click on it, and then about 1% of them do. So for every like we build this community by like 10 people. So go hit the like button, please, and then subscribe while you're down there. Leave me a comment saying if you think pawns are easy. So let's get into this one. We have even material. Obviously, there's no checkmate. Obviously, we want to promote a pawn. So if we go like this, then the king has to go up, I think. No, they don't. All right, let's always be calculating. Here, 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 and the king is outside the square, so that pawn will promote. So then they can take or push. It won't matter. I just sidestep. So let's just say check, and then I sidestep to here. And then it doesn't matter what they do, really. They can't move me. I can never be moved, and I will just push the pawn up the board. So that's a win. So again, here, 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 check, king here. King here doesn't matter. I promote. Okay, so that's a promotion. So here, and then king back is the only reasonable one that I see. And then I think I can probably, I'm not going to push again because I don't want the king out in the square. So I'm pretty sure I'm going to go king here. The only legal move for the king, notice that this king cannot move. It cannot go here, here because of the pawn, the black pawn. It cannot go here because if it's a white pawn. It can't go here because of the king, the black king. And of course, there's this pawn as well. So the only legal move in that position would be pushing the pawn. I think I would probably simply take it. I would take that check. Then the king would go here. Then I might go here. Then the king would take. Sorry, I went too fast. Here, here, take. Here. Back again and up. That should be a win for black because the white king cannot get in front of the black pawn. This square is controlled. All three squares are controlled. It looks like a draw, but I don't think it is. So let's go here, here, again, here. Only legal move is this. Now, I don't think I push the pawn because if I push the pawn, I think they go and stop it. And then I go here and they eat the pawn and then I go here and they go like this and then I don't do anything. I push my pawn and they go here and I take it and it doesn't matter. It's a corner rook pawn. So that doesn't work. That's a draw. I can't just give up this pawn ever. If this pawn is, even if I win both white pawns, it doesn't work. So I'm pretty sure it's going to be push as the first move because it's going to be push, king, king, push, take. Pretty sure that's it. That's check. And then all I have to do is never lose that back pawn. So they would go here. And then I actually have a knight pawn. I wonder if I could push my own pawn in that case. I said my move was going to be this, threatening to come outside and around. And if they ever push their pawn, I take it. And then once their king takes, I'm in. Easy win. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's it. I just calculated if I go here, 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 with the opposition. I will win the opposition and queen my pawn. So I'm pretty sure it's this. What if instead I took and they took? Then I would go here. And then they push the pawn and it's a draw. There's nothing I can do about that. In fact, that's forced. So that's easy. That's really easy. Notice that I can't do this. I can't take here. And I'm definitely not going to move my king and then let them take me, because I'm definitely not winning. At some point, I will have to step onto this file, the F file, to take a pawn. They take mine and they win. So the only move that even makes any sense, let me do that one again here. Take. Only legal move is king, and they push up. And then the only legal move is either take or be taken. Either way, it's a draw. So this is the first move. Yeah. Now I think it's going to be this, and then I take it, and then they go here, and then I go here, and then they go here, and I go take it, and then they take it, and then, oh no, they don't. They take this guy. I cannot, I said I cannot give that up under any circumstances. They push upon, I take, they take here. And I'm devastated because they're going to go right up the board, right into the corner and draw. Okay. All right. Well, what else do we have then, everybody? I think it still is king here. Take. Check. King here. If I push their pawn, they draw. Is there anything else I can do about it? What if I go here and they push and I take? And they go here. Then I don't think I can stop them. I go up the board, they go up here. And they're going to cut in front of the pawn and go to the corner, or they can just continue up to F1 and then go in the corner. It doesn't matter. That's a draw. Dang it. All right, now I got to think. So anytime you can't win, you immediately have to think of alternatives. I find this to be funny. Okay, if king here and they push the pawn, what if I don't take it and I go here? What does white do? Nothing. It's a stalemate. So that's bad. That's a draw. That's a cute way for white to stalemate themselves. So if I go here and they push, I do have, if I push up, it's stalemate, but I don't have to, right? I could go here and then they take, and then I push again, and that's actually queening. So what if I go here and they go here and I push and they stop me? Then I can go take, and they have to take the pawn. And then I go here and they go back. And then I go back and they go up here and I go here and they go here and I go take, and it's a draw. Darn it. Here, here, take, here. What's my move? There, take, here. I'm getting confused. Now I'm going too fast. Here, 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 here. Push, take, up. Here. Check, block, draw. How do we win? How do I stop? The only issue here is here, 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 here. How do I stop this pawn from coming up where I have to take it and they take my pawn as well? That's bad. So there has to be like a trick or technique. I really wish this weren't stalemate. Here, here, here. Eat. Doesn't work. Okay, well, it's not going to be pushed upon. I don't see why it would be this. Oh, it could be. Oh, that's interesting. Here, here. Push. Ooh. Hello. Here. And then now the king can't come out. But they push the pawn. And then I take it. And they go here. And then I take the opposition. And they push a pawn. And that doesn't do anything. Dang it. King G8, pawn push, take. And they go here. Okay, what if I try this way? And then here and here. I don't think this works. So if they push, I can block, and that's actually a win. That's actually a win. So I would have king, pawn, pawn, and they would have king, pawn. So that's actually a win. They would leave, and I would take the pawn, but they can always just take me. So they're not going to check me. They're going to capture my pawn. So king here, take, here, take. And then, so we just basically can't take that pawn. So here, and then up, right? They can't, no, I mean, surely they can't take because I run. So here, here, pawn. And there's just nothing here. I can't push my pawn, they take it. If I push the pawn, they take it. If I take the pawn, they take this pawn here. So that's a draw too, because there's no way to get in front of the pawn. So basically, I've made a mistake on the last move, which would be taking this pawn. So what else can I do? King g8 here. Oh, what if I go this? Stalemate. Oh yeah, we said that, stalemate. What if it's not? What if I go here, here? Oh, there you go. It's not a stalemate now. It's not a stalemate, but they also can't take this pawn because they're outside the square of this pawn. So king g8. All right, let's do this again. Here. Taking, we said, is ridiculous because on the very next move, no matter what I do, they'll play this and draw. So taking is wrong. Pushing is a stalemate, so it can't be king g7, so it must be king g8. Push. And then I can't play take because they sit here and we get a draw, same as before. So then I must have to not take it. I must push. And now they can't take it. We already know that. And they have to take it. No, because they can push this pawn. And then I take it and it's stalemate again. So what happens then? Okay, king g8 push. We got this far. This is the only thing that doesn't draw. We know that. All the other legal moves we've tried. So here. So then they don't take this pawn. That's a legal move. We win. If they take a pawn, we run. Right? Oh, wait. Yeah, that's fine. Because then they go here and I go here and then they go here and I go here and they're nowhere close to checkmating me. They need 1, 2, 3 more moves and they don't have it. Let's do the first move. Let's do the first move because we already proved the other one doesn't work. Yeah. And now, just to be clear, if I take it, they go here. And then I have to guard that pawn, I guess. It doesn't really matter where I go. I could even go here. It doesn't matter. They're gonna attack it. And then when I trade, they take my F pawn and then it's a draw. So there's no way for me to stop that. And if I don't take it, they will take me and then they will take the pawn the next move. Therefore, H6 is the only move that works. And also, by the way, this and this. Actually, it's even easier. This check, no matter what I do, they will stop the pawn and eat it on the next move, no matter what I do with it. So that's a draw too. So H6 is the only move. Even if I go here, right? If I go here, they go take it and then push, block. And I can't go like this because they'll queen. And that's obviously winning. So H6. Only move left. They can't take my pawn. That's the thing. They can't take the pawn or I run mine. They took it. 62? 62! Personal best, everybody. Personal best. Oh, man, I've got 62 earlier. But this is a tie for the personal best. Oh, my gosh. I'm going to cut this off right here, though. That was pretty fun. I've got to show you this, that stalemate in case you weren't following along. If you liked seeing 62, hit the like button, okay? So here, we proved why. If I go here, so this was the problem. There's nothing for me to do here. There's no way for me to stop this pawn. I can't do anything. Like, if I go here, push the pawn. I take it, they take it. Now they're just going to go back in the corner. Right? There's nothing I can do. And this is a draw. And then there's nothing, I mean, right? I push a pawn, they take it. So if I go here, they go here, and I play that move, this was the big difference, everybody, is this is a stalemate. But if my king weren't there on G7, like is the solution, now it's legal and losing. So what if they go here? And what I found funny was that I can't take this pawn. It's a stalemate. So I have to dodge it with this. And then they will queen. And then I take it back. And now, you see what I've done? I've kept my king on g8 with, and now they're out of choices. These are the only two legal moves. This is such a cool formation. I love this. Probably they'll go here and then I go here. One thing I was worried about that I had to calculate at the end there was here, and then they take it and I push and they go like this and push and they go here and I go here and they go here and I queen. And if they could just go like this, it's checkmate, but they're one short. And now I can just do whatever I want. I can go like check. And I guess the king moves and I go like this, and notice that we cover the queening square. So that was a quick calculation at the end there, but it didn't really matter because even if you're playing this in a real game, it's your only chance. Just push the pawn. If you're losing, it's already too late. It just happens that in a puzzle we know we're not losing. So, but either way, you don't have to truly calculate this. You can just, it's your only chance. Push the pawn, and if you're losing, you're losing anyway. So I had fun. I hope you guys had fun. I hope you hit the like button. I hope you leave me a comment about what your highest puzzle rating or rush score is. And then next time, I'm going to continue this series. We are going to take a look at this beauty, which looks like a rook and pawn endgame, which should be a lot of fun to think about. I love endgames, and I hope you do too. And I'll see you for the next one.